Have you ever looked at a $20 bill and wondered why this specific piece of paper actually has value? It is not like you can eat it or wear it as a coat to stay warm. Yet, we all spend most of our lives working very hard to get more of it. To really understand how money works, we have to look past the physical coins and bills and see money for what it really is. A system of trust and a tool for trading our time, our skills, and our resources. Long ago, before money existed, people used a system called bartering. If you were a farmer who had extra eggs but you needed a new pair of shoes, you had to find a shoemaker who specifically wanted eggs at that exact moment. This is what economists call the double coincidence of wants. It was incredibly inefficient and frustrating. If the shoemaker wanted bread instead of eggs, you were out of luck. You would have to find a baker, trade your eggs for bread, and then go back to the shoemaker. Money was invented to solve this exact headache. It acts as a middleman. It is a universal language of value that everyone agrees to speak. In its simplest form, money serves three main purposes. First, it is a medium of exchange. This means you can trade it for anything else without having to swap physical goods. Second, it is a unit of account. This allows us to put a price tag on things so we can compare the value of a car to the value of a laptop easily. Third, it is a store of value. If you have a basket of apples, they will rot in a week. But if you sell those apples for $10, that $10 will still be there a month from now, ready to be spent. Throughout history, humans have used many things as money, including seashells, salt, and even giant stones. Eventually, we settled on gold and silver because they were rare, easy to carry, and did not degrade over time. But carrying heavy gold around was risky and difficult, so banks started issuing paper receipts that represented the gold they held in their vaults. Eventually, governments realized they could just issue the paper itself without needing the gold to back it up. This is what we call fiat money. It has value simply because the government says it does, and because we all trust that we can use it to pay our taxes and buy our groceries. So where does all this money actually come from? You might think the government just prints it whenever they need it, but the process is a bit more complex. Most of the money in our modern economy is actually created by commercial banks through a process called fractional reserve banking. When you deposit $1,000 into your bank account, the bank does not just keep all of it sitting in a dark vault waiting for you. They keep a small fraction of it, perhaps 10%, and then they lend the rest out to other people for mortgages, car loans, or business startups. When the bank lends that money out, it is deposited into another person's account, and suddenly, the total amount of money in the system has grown. This sounds like magic, and in a way, it is. It is a system built entirely on the expectation that everyone will not try to withdraw all their cash at the exact same time. This expansion of credit is what allows economies to grow, as it gives people the capital they need to build things today that they will pay for with the money they earn tomorrow. However, there is a catch to this system, and it is something we all feel in our wallets: inflation. You might have heard your parents or grandparents talk about how a movie ticket or a candy bar used to cost just a few cents. This happens because as more money enters the economy, each individual dollar becomes slightly less rare and therefore slightly less valuable. Think of it like a game of musical chairs where someone keeps adding more people, but the number of chairs stays the same. If the supply of money grows faster than the supply of goods and services we can buy, prices go up. This is why keeping your money in a physical piggy bank for 30 years is actually a risky move. While the number of dollars stays the same, the amount of stuff those dollars can buy shrinks every single year. This leads us to the most important part of how money works for you individually: the difference between an asset and a liability. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, like a car payment or a credit card balance. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, like a rental property, a stock that pays dividends, or a business. Most people are caught in a cycle of working for money to pay for liabilities. But the secret to financial freedom is to use your money to buy assets that eventually generate enough income to cover your expenses. This is the concept of making your money work for you rather than you working for your money. One of the most powerful tools in this process is compound interest. Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. It is the process where your money earns interest, and then that interest earns its own interest. Over long periods, this creates an exponential curve of wealth. Even small amounts of money invested early in life can grow into massive sums because of the sheer power of time and compounding. Understanding the flow of money also means understanding risk and reward. In the financial world, if you want to grow your money quickly, you usually have to take on more risk. If you want your money to be perfectly safe, you will likely earn a very low return. Balancing these two is the art of investing. It is about diversifying your eggs into many different baskets so that if one breaks, you still have plenty left. Money is often viewed as a taboo or greedy topic, but when you strip away the emotions, it is just a neutral tool. It is a form of stored energy. Just like electricity can light up a house or cause a fire depending on how it is handled, money can be used to create incredible freedom and give back to the community, or it can cause a great deal of stress if managed poorly. The goal of learning how money works is not just to see a bigger number in a bank app. It is about gaining control over your time. When you understand how currency is created, why inflation happens, and how assets grow, you stop being a victim of the system and start becoming an architect of your own future. You begin to see that every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of life you want to live, and every dollar you save or invest is a seed for a future tree that will eventually provide you with shade. It takes patience and a bit of discipline to move from a consumer mindset to an investor mindset, but the rewards are life-changing. Instead of wondering where your money went at the end of every month, you start telling your money exactly where to go. To wrap things up, remember that money is a social contract. We all agree that these digital numbers and pieces of paper represent our hard work and our value. By mastering the rules of the game, you can ensure that you are playing the game rather than the game playing you. Start by building an emergency fund so you're never forced into bad debt when life gets messy. Then, look for ways to acquire assets that grow over time. Keep learning, stay curious about how the global economy shifts, and always look for ways to increase your own value to the world. Because your earning potential is ultimately tied to the problems you can solve for others. Thank you so much for taking the time to dive into the world of finance with me today. If you found this explanation helpful and want to keep learning how to master your personal economy, please feel free to follow or subscribe for more. I really appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you in the next one.